much for joining us on the We Got You Mama Summit. I want to introduce you all to the amazing Kim Perez. She is a functional nutritionist who helps moms restore their energy, reclaim their vitality so that we can not just survive, but thrive through this insane journey of motherhood. Within her own journey, she did experience a depletion during that early, postpartum stage. I think I would say majority of us do. And it lit a fire under her to more deeply support all the moms in this season. And so she has started helping women across the world with all things nutrition. Her site is Rooted and Branch, which I don't know, it sounds like it should be like a business surrounding nutrition and then also like baby items, like just the name. I don't know. Like, I'm like, how does she claim that domain? It's beautiful.
Thank
There's a
you.
lot of meaning significant, surrounding, that name as well. So make sure y'all check her out. We'll talk about more how you can get in contact with her after, but we're going to talk about how to properly fuel our bodies and, because we deserve that and our bodies deserve to be fueled properly, especially when we are growing babies and birthing babies and what happens and what the changes in us that happen and continually happen. So did I miss anything you want to throw out there that I missed when it
I don't think so. I feel like we're going to cover it all. There's so many things that I could talk about in this, on this topic. So I'm excited to dive in.
Awesome. So what are some of those specific simple changes that moms can make to give them that like natural energy? Like we always make the joke, like, oh, you survive on coffee, like postpartum, but like, let's not just survive on coffee, right? Because
Right.
it's not actually going to do us a lot of good. So what are some of just the simple things we can do? Because we have to kind of keep it simple in those early stages, right? Like there's a lot going on. It doesn't mean we have to be compiling these crazy specific meals to replenish our bodies. So fill us in on some of those, those expert tips.
Absolutely. So I think the first most important thing is like mindset. It's not even doing, it's the way that you're thinking. It's the way that you are, depending on what stage you're in, is going to really, determine how you're feeling yourself and what ways, what things you're focusing on. But really just getting honest with yourself and understanding like you do need to be fueled to take care of your newborn, your toddler, your older child, multiple children, no matter what stage you're at, and putting yourself at the forefront, right? Like, yes, your kids can come first, your family can come first, but that doesn't mean you have to come last. Like you can also come first, right? That's going to ebb and flow. So something that I talk a lot with moms is just the mindset piece of understanding that when your cup is empty, I get so annoyed with that phrase of like, you can't pour from an empty cup, because moms everywhere know we can do that. We do it all the time, but it doesn't feel
I can
good.
and I will and I do.
I can, right? I can. That's literally motherhood. That's how it's how biology, everything is designed that we're going to give to our children no matter what. But it doesn't feel good. And it sets us up for symptoms. And, it starts with things like irritability, fatigue, not really sleeping well, and that spirals, right? And you get to a point where like you hopefully will realize that's not serving you, right? So just understanding like you have to fill your cup to be able to pour into everyone else, but also you matter as a person, right? Just like an entire person, not just mom. So there's a big mindset shift that goes into that. And then, based on what I was chatting about before, just being really like aware of the season you're in and what is that going to require, right? In that early postpartum period, it really ideally should not be your whole responsibility to feed yourself, because you're tending to a newborn like 24/7. So you need to have conversations, set up, whatever you can, whether that's having people there that are going to help feed you or send meals, or even just doing things like grocery delivery, meal prep, whatever you can. Take those shortcuts so that you're getting help feeding yourself, right? And then once you get beyond that, especially if you are fueling yourself and you're hopefully recover well, then you can make changes. You can do more, but you're just not going to get by at any point in motherhood running on fumes, and you need to eat. And those are just really like overall mindset things that I talk with women all the time is understanding that you deserve to be nourished. You need food. You're not going to survive on 1,200 calories a day or coffee all day.
Yeah.
And get that in your mind, because, once you start to really believe that, the actions will follow, right? We could talk about specifics, but this is just the overall kind of thing that has to happen beforehand. Because I think postpartum, especially just for moms in general, the main nutrition information out there is all going to be, or mostly going to be, about either how much to eat when you're breastfeeding or how to lose weight fast. And I think we're really lacking the information around how to really deeply nourish, replenish, and fuel our bodies so that we have all the energy we need to do all the things.
Yeah. The focus should not be, okay, when am I going to fit back into those pre-pregnancy jeans? Like, let's get that out of our head for now. That's not something we need to focus on. Like, let's take care of ourselves from the inside. So there's been a lot of talk, and I don't think within any of my pregnancies even heard maternal depletion. Like, I'm hearing that pop up a lot now, which I think is cool and important to learn about. But yeah, no one talked about that. No one talked about what I should be eating or not eating, or any of that when, I had any of my 3 babies. So what exactly is, when we say maternal depletion, what is it? What are these top symptoms to recognize? I am absolutely depleted. So why it's so common? What are those symptoms?
Yeah. So maternal, I think the term postpartum or postnatal depletion has gotten really popular, but I think that it narrows things down for women to think like, oh, this is just something that happens like immediately after you have a baby. But it can continue. It can continue for 10 years, multiple decades if it's not tended to, right? And so there's so many different ways that it can manifest. But when you think of depletion, deplete is to take away, right? And when you become a mom, no matter what your experience is, there is a natural shift in you're giving away your energy, you're giving away your time, you're giving away your sleep. You grow a baby and maybe breastfeed that baby, you're giving away your nutrients, right? So we're giving away and it's taking away from us. And so that can leave us physically depleted, but even just like mentally, emotionally depleted, socially depleted. I mean, think about become a mom. Can be very isolating and lonely. So there's all of these different, normal changes that are kind of going on, but the way that society is kind of set up and the lack of information and support we're given leads women to becoming depleted. And that's going to kind of spiral, right? Especially when we're told you should diet to lose weight really quick and get back in those jeans. That's going to just deplete you further. And so it will definitely manifest very differently for lots of women. The most common thing is going to be fatigue, because you're depleting, you're literally taking your energy, you've given away your nutrients to build and nourish and grow that baby. So there's a physical depletion of nutrients, and that's going to lead to fatigue. That can also cross over into mental fatigue, brain fog, mom brain, can impact mental health, of course, anxiety, depression, irritability, and mom rage. I know for me, like, it was this combination of like, I'm so freaking exhausted, but my brain won't shut off. Like, I'm so overstimulated and irritable. And then there's a lot of other symptoms that can be normal, like hair loss postpartum, just a thing that happens. But when that continues, especially is intense, you get your cycle back and it's really irregular and painful because of the way that this depletion impacts your energy and your nutrient stores. It really can impact anything. A lot of moms will, be diagnosed with autoimmune conditions after pregnancy, or start having thyroid problems that they never had before. So that is where, it's like the energy, the nutrients that kind of trickles down to impact other areas.
So you did touch on mental health a little bit, and that's always key for me with, someone who's struggled a lot in that area with depression and anxiety, as an adolescent, through motherhood. How much of a key does nutrition play in that of your mental health?
I mean, I'm a nutritionist. I'm going to be a little bit biased. I'm going to say it plays a pretty big role. I'm also very aware that that's not the only thing. There's, you said, like, history, there's trauma, there's how supported were you postpartum, so many different things. Did your baby sleep, or were you up all the time, because that in and of itself can really impact your mental health.
Mhm.
But something that is really important, and a lot of my focus is very foundational in terms of how we're supporting the main like energy producing and management systems of the body. And without getting too technical, we have like our metabolism, and we have, of course, our nervous system. And those things require energy, and they require consistent and balanced energy. So if you're not eating enough, if you're skipping meals, if your meals aren't balanced and your blood sugar's all over the place, it's literally going to put your body into fight or flight.
Yeah.
It's going to cause an increase in stress hormones, and that's going to impact your mental health just by way of how it's impacting your nervous system. And your body's not going to be able to handle stress as well. And of course, there's different areas, different paths that you can go down, and again, different ways that it will manifest. Some women have more anxiety, some are more depressed, some have both, and other symptoms. But it really comes down to this, like, your body is not feeling safe.
Mhm.
And there's a multitude of different reasons, but not getting the nutrition you need is going to be a really big one. Like, your
Yeah.
body's smart, and it's going to compensate, and it's going to try as best as possible to communicate with you that it needs that fuel, it needs that energy.
Yeah. Our bodies can be really loud sometimes, right? And then when it gets like too loud, that's probably when you've hit like, oh, now it's a problem, I would say. And it's so fascinating to me because um the struggle surrounding some of the mental health things that I struggled with, it went away during my postpartum stage. Like, I was the
Mm,
opposite. I was actually quite frightened. I was like, oh, I'm like poster child for like, I'm going to have postpartum depression. I'm going to have like massive postpartum anxiety. I mean, I think I was anxious, maybe like any new mom would be, because everything's new. But like, I found that this is happening. I'm pregnant now. I'm on maternity leave, right? Like this, like I some of the responsibilities that actually went away,
oh yeah.
right? Because I was like,
Yeah.
well, this is what I'm doing now. And so maybe it was environment and work and some of the pressures like that came off. And then baby came, and like that was my responsibility. Like I didn't,
Hmm.
and at the time, I didn't have my other two kids yet. So it was the first time around. I was like so scared that like, oh, I am gonna lose my mind when I have this baby. And lack of sleep and all that kind of things. But like also I had people like feeding me, and I
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about dinner. And I
The
had,
support.
a meal train, and I had my mom in town helping take care of baby. And I had, it was almost like this, yes, hard and exhausting and all the things, but I was like, my anxiety went away after having,
That's
because
wonderful. Well,
I
you're
was
also,
being
you're in
fed
your
and I
little
was being
bubble.
taken
Yeah.
care of for like the first time
Yes.
in forever, right?
Hmm.
And I just kind of like put that together as we were speaking right now, like it like healed me in a sense, And then once you start busying all the things and all the crazy hits back up is when it started. And then I had to, learn apply some cognitive behavioral changes, obviously in my life to then, get on this track of staying more consistently feeling better. But yeah, that is fascinating. Like I was fed.
Yeah.
Someone was
It's
taking the baby so I could
interesting.
sleep, you know.
Right.
My mom was going for a walk, making sure I got outside, like all those environmental things,
Yeah, well, you were lucky enough to have those people that like were there for
Yeah,
you, and your
100%.
job is take care of baby. That was your focus, and then their
Yeah,
job was take care of you. I
yeah.
had a very similar experience. Like, I am nostalgic for my early postpartum. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't like all fun and games, but I
No.
was like, I wasn't working, I wasn't worrying about literally
Yeah.
anything else. I was in that little blissful bubble, and I was, doing, I knew I had all this knowledge, so I was doing all the things that I knew, to support myself and my healing.
Right.
But my son was 4 months old when COVID hit. And so all of my, like,
Yeah.
everything that happened with me, like depletion, exhaustion, mental health, was not till about a year. I also exclusively pumped for that year, which was not my original plan. And was also very like demanding of time and energy.
Right.
Um, but I think that that's something that's also really important to point out, is that it doesn't have to occur right away, right? Whether it's overall depletion, mental health struggles, or any other thing, like
Yeah.
it can surface later.
Yeah.
Postpartum is technically forever, right?
Yeah. It really is. And we think that like it doesn't and won't creep back in once I hit, that hump. Cause yeah, 100%, like those things started to creep back in once that baby hit 6, 7 months. Right.
Hmm. And things are
Um,
changing. Things are
yeah.
changing. Food's coming into the picture, baby's moving. how nice to be able to put, like, I knew like I could put my son down and go make a meal and he'd be in the same spot when I got back, before they're calling and all that. So there's
Yeah.
new things. There's this like evolution that it's not just you have a baby, you become a mom and okay, now that's it. It's like you're
Mhm.
changing. Those first 2 years, especially, you're going through lots of different changes, your body, your
Right.
life. It's all. So we have to like honor that a little bit better too.
Yeah, 100%. And then you have a teenager, and then your cycles sync up, and then life changes again.
Ooh, I'm not there. I have a son, so but
That's where
yeah.
I'm at. And I'm like, oh, this really, it did not come out of nowhere, but it felt like it came out of nowhere. I was like, and
Mm.
we're here, and
Yeah.
we're here.
Different
So yeah, things
seasons,
are
right?
always changing. Yeah,
Exactly.
no, it's you blink and those babies are now like these
Mm.
teenagers. They actually grow up, you guys. Surprise, surprise. These babies actually grow up and they
Really?
survive a lot more, than we think. Like looking back, yeah, I should have taken care of myself. Oh, yeah, I should have, or yeah, I should have, right? And so I don't know, take it from, yeah, I think this is why I have such huge passion in doing this. It's like I want moms to have all the support and have access to support and build that village around them, like during this stage, but also like forever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Mhm.
have a space to come where, they can learn from you like 5 years from now. Like, okay, now I'm not okay. What is happening? Oh, well, maybe it's whatever, perimenopause is like a big topic now, you know what I mean? And the kind of things that we have to do and change to replenish our bodies in that stage. And
Mhm.
it's just, things are always changing and growing. And then there's always, new information out there too.
Definitely. And
Um,
also what you do now is going to impact if you're not at that point yet. Like
right,
that is something very always was drilled into my brain through all my trainings when it comes to supporting perimenopausal and menopausal, postmenopausal. It's like so much of what you do in your teens, 20s, 30s is going to actually set you up for success at that point or not. And
right,
similarly, how you rest and nourish yourself in the postpartum period when you are in that really, really vulnerable, depleted state is going to impact the rest of your motherhood, really. And
yeah,
especially if you're going to go on to have more kids, that depletion can only intensify.
right. And I would say in all aspects too, like even when we, have the episodes surrounding our pelvic floor, you know what I mean? How much you can do now, even if you
Mm-hmm.
have all your babies, or before you reach menopause, how much you can do now to feel better, to strengthen those muscles, like and I often come back to you don't have to pee your pants the rest of your life, because that
Yeah.
was what I grew up with my mom. Like all leaking wouldn't jump around with us, because she's like, no, I'll pee my pants. So I just thought that was
Mm-hmm.
the future, right? Um, and I think it's important to know it doesn't have to be your future. We can do things now to support our bodies and our muscles and our gut and all those things to yes, prevent a plethora of things,
Mm-hmm.
but also like to feel better now and to ensure that we're going to feel better, in the future.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about there's been a lot more talk around like do you take supplements? Do you get all the nutrients you need through food? Like, what if you're not getting them through food? What sort of minerals? Like, been hearing like I maybe need more than this, and then the doctors aren't really, the regular checkups. They're not. You ask for a blood panel, they're just going to check the handful of things that they're supposed to, or what's covered, or whatever. What are some of those things that are important, for mothers specifically to hone in on when it comes to that kind of stuff?
Yeah. A few things to say about that. So number one, I'm a huge fan of minerals. I'm like obsessed with minerals. I use a lot of like mineral testing and that focus in my practice
Mhm.
because the during the duration of pregnancy, it's estimated that we give about 4 pounds of our body's mineral stores to our babies. Like we
Whoa.
store those minerals and we literally, so we can lose, it's about 10%. So because of how important minerals are to support the metabolism, which makes energy,
Yeah.
lack of minerals is going to, again, like that downstream effect that I talked about. And what is frustrating, unfortunately, is that the conventional, medical model, you might get some minerals checked in your blood work, like your electrolytes, calcium, magnesium, sodium, but most of the time you're going to see that they're in range. It's only if they're out of range in your blood that's likely a pretty deep imbalance, right?
Yeah.
Your body keeps your mineral levels in your blood under very tight control. So calcium, for example, if you don't have enough in your blood and those levels drop low, your body can pull from your bones and your teeth to bring calcium into. So not only are these tests just not, comprehensive enough, but the way that they're checking, especially, certain nutrients, is just not super accurate. So going back to, your first question around food and supplements, I really do believe that we can get as much as really, like, you should be trying to get as much as you can from food. That should be your goal, but I don't think it's going to be fully possible. And so you can definitely use supplements to like fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people will jump to supplements first, and I'll get clients, they'll see like, oh, your potassium's low. They're like, what supplement can I take? I'm like, let's focus on what we can do with your diet first, because you will absorb and utilize nutrients from food better than you will supplements, right? And then next would be like food-based supplements. So I think, for every woman, it's going to be a little bit different, just depending on her, her schedule, her preferences, foods maybe she is like allergic to or doesn't include in her diet, right? But this is where working with a practitioner is so helpful, because you can get that customized assessment to see, okay, this is what we're going to tweak with your food. This is what maybe you're deficient in, or you're just not getting enough from your diet. And here's where we can layer in a supplement. And here's maybe where we can like work to correct a deficiency over a short amount of time, retest, and then, you're good, right? So it's a combination. It's a combination of food and supplements. At least that's how I do things.
Yeah. And with the supplement world, is there a best? Is there a better is best? Is there a shy away from this? Is there a, organic, non-organic when it comes to food? Like, what is your like general recommendation when it comes to women? Like, your doctor says, oh, you need this. And then so maybe she researches more food that contains that she's missing. But what if they're like, yeah, you need to supplement in this? Like, then where do they turn if they're not really guided?
Yeah. I feel bad because the whole supplement world is really overwhelming. Like, even as a practitioner, I'll get clients that are like, hey, what do you think of this magnesium? I'm like, I've never heard of this brand before. There's just so much out there. So this is really difficult to say. What I will say is that the unfortunate reality is that financially, you want what's going to be most cost effective. So oftentimes you'll go into like the, whatever's cheap on Amazon, whatever's in your, local pharmacy and is like $13 a bottle versus like the $30 bottle. In general, the cheaper a supplement, it's might have more additives. It's especially when we're talking about minerals, for example, just because we're on that topic, it's going to have a lower quality form that's not going to be absorbed by your body. Magnesium's a big one. Like, there are a lot of magnesium that you can go buy in the store for very cheap. They're not going to really make you feel so great. So, doing your research around the quality of supplements, looking at what the ingredients are, making sure that it's been, tested. I utilize a lot of practitioner grade supplements, like brands that I know and trust. So again, working with a practitioner to do that research. Also food-based, like if you can go with a food-based supplement over, for example, vitamin C, right? Like there's vitamin C that you're going to grab in the grocery store. That's ascorbic acid. That's the most common. It's pretty cheap. That's what's in like everything. Or you can get a like food-based there's different types of berries that are really rich in vitamin C, and you can use that as a supplement, knowing your body's going to absorb that and see it more like a food, right? So those are just a couple of,
I don't know, like how we're born, maybe.
Like
how they do, right?
Yeah, because I hate to see
before any of those things existed, and in little gel packs out right form, like we're like made to thrive off of food, right?
Right,
Good,
right.
solid, whole food. Yeah.
And I hate to see people waste their money, it's like, worse is that it's doing more harm than good, which I see very often. And one of my favorite things to do is take women off all their supplements. I'm like, you don't need all this stuff. You just need these like 3, right? That's one of the joys of the work that I do, the little joys. But Yeah, like don't waste your money on something that's maybe making things worse or just really isn't doing anything. Like
Right.
you're creating expensive pee, right? That's what it's going to come down to. And put that money towards like some higher quality, more nutrient rich foods if you can. And
Yeah.
then, again, fill in the gaps with what your body needs.
Mhm.
I'm a big proponent of testing. Stop guessing. Just because
Right.
someone on TikTok said you need magnesium doesn't mean that you should go take
Our body does.
magnesium.
Right.
Yeah. So, understanding what your body needs, tuning out some of that excess noise, getting support so that you can understand what your body needs is so, so, so important to help you simplify and help you prioritize. And, if you don't want to take supplements, if you don't want to go down that route, like that's also fine, but really just pay like even more attention and put more intention on your diet.
Right. Yeah. Which can, be hard sometimes, but I think the benefit is massive. And we might not see that instantaneously, right? But over time,
Yeah.
I think we're like really gonna recognize how important that is, right?
Yes. And I'm also a realist. Like I always say my approach is holistic but realistic because
Yeah.
I look at what moms are, the demands that we're under, the lives that we're living, the stress of just living in this world.
Yeah.
And I really truly believe that food first, but like I'm a big fan of minerals and herbs for moms. Like I think
Okay.
those two things can really, really be supportive for helping us replenish, supporting energy and also supporting like stress and hormones. Of course, there's variance in that category, but those are my two really like top categories of supplements to have women use. They really just make a big difference.
Mhm. So how do we test for that? So when we chatted before, you talked about, I was like, I need you to run me a lab test, because I haven't done all the things to see what I go do my regular checkups, with the doctor. And it wasn't, I think I mentioned this in another interview. It wasn't until my psychologist was like, have you had these things tested? Let's rule out blah, blah, blah before we put you on any medication. Because it might just be, you're low in B12 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I don't think that came up. And then I had to ask, oh, is that so they're like, oh, that's not included in that blood
Yeah.
panel. Like, oh, and you kind of like just think that they're testing your blood but like you said, it's only certain things, and it's only if if they're at the bottom of that range, they're still going to be considered okay. And sure enough, I was like at the bottom, but they're like, yeah, but you can take it if you want, but it's at the bottom. And I was like, bottom doesn't feel like a great place to be.
Right, right. I don't want to. And I also don't just want to
Yeah.
be normal comparatively to everyone, like the
Yeah.
general population.
Yeah.
I want to thrive. I want to
Yeah.
feel really good. So there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of different tests. I particularly lean really heavily on mineral testing
Mhm.
because of just the population that I work with and the power that it's had with my health and so many of my clients. But I also will like recommend to my clients and have them advocate for themselves at their providers' offices to request certain labs, to
Mhm.
go in there and ask for a full, a thyroid panel and even ask the doctor, like, what markers are you putting in on that script? Coming in armed with that information. And that's something that, I think a lot of people don't believe that they can do, but you really can.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a doctor that's going to support you, hopefully you can find another doctor. In most states, you can also order your own blood work. Of course, you want to work with somebody to help you interpret it, but I'm
Yes.
not like anti-blood work. I think blood work is really, really important.
Yeah.
I just lean heavily into mineral testing because it's non-invasive. You use a piece of your hair.
Cool.
So you do it at home. It's very cost effective and it just gives us the most amount of information, but also the most like foundational important information because we literally can see your mineral levels on paper. We can see exactly how your body's able to create energy, exactly how your body's handling stress.
That's insane.
It's
From your
amazing
hair.
from your hair. And I
That's
can
why on all
attest to
those
this.
crime scene videos, like if you find a piece of hair, they're like, we got him.
Yep, your hair carries so much
Yeah.
information and yeah, so it can show so many different things and different mineral patterns can show like how your thyroid's actually functioning, your nervous system. I ran one just this week and there's a nervous system ratio. And when that's really low, it's very indicative that somebody's in fight or flight. And that client had the like every symptom matching up with that, right? And so how we would approach healing for that person would be very different from someone who has a higher ratio who's on the other, the other side of the spectrum, right?
Right.
Or somebody whose adrenals are more overactive versus someone whose adrenals are more depleted. So I'm sorry, there's like a fuzz. So it's like in my vision. So yeah, that test is my absolute favorite. And then there's other things that you can do just depending on what's going on. But that's the test I've run with every single one of my clients to start.
That's cool. And so do you recommend, can anyone reach out to you and be like, hey, I want you to do this for me? Do you work with people like everywhere?
Yeah,
Or is it
basically.
like, or do
There's
you
some
recommend that like, oh, maybe go see, this person or look, research this type of person in your area, provider that will provide that type of work for you, but it's essentially they all send it out, right?
Yes. And the thing about hair mineral testing is like you really have to be trained to read it,
Mm,
because it's not like a very straightforward, just because something's high, it doesn't necessarily mean it's high. It can just mean your body's losing it more rapidly, using it up more rapidly.
mhm.
So you want to work with somebody who's trained in mineral testing if that's the type of test you want.
Got it. Okay.
There are restrictions for certain countries and things like that, but in general, I have an HTMA review service, which is just like you run a test with me, I interpret it for you, I build you a protocol. And that's a really cool starting point for a lot of people because, the investment is, like I said, that's a really inexpensive test comparatively. I send the kit to your house, you do it at home and you send it to the lab. Like it
Right.
couldn't be simpler. And then you get to like implement that on your own. And if you feel like you need more support from me, then, you can definitely do that. But that can also be like a one and done. Like you get that information. Now you're empowered with what's going on in
Yeah.
your body and what you need to do and change. And then you just kind of move forward with all of that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So if you want to run one, we can
I
chat.
totally want to run one.
It's
I think
so
the first time we
cool.
talked, I was like, oh, I need to get her my hair. I was like,
Send
I
me your hair. Oh, you
haven't.
don't send it to me, but
But yeah, no, I mean,
it's
yeah,
my
I mean,
favorite. I run it twice a year personally. I think
yeah.
it's, especially with clients who have, especially are in that season of preparing for pregnancy during or immediately postpartum. It's just such a cool
Yeah.
test. Like I run it with clients before they get pregnant and during pregnancy, and you see such
Yeah.
big changes
So
because
different. Hmm.
so much is going on. And it's been such a great tool, particularly for those pregnant clients to like prepare for postpartum, right? Like
Right.
fill those stores up, support yourself
Hmm.
so that you're not really depleted when you get to that stage.
Yeah. Get in a healthy spot as well, before you even conceive, even, right? Like
Yeah.
beyond that, before you have babies, before you think about like, I mean, just humans, we can get in a better place. I mean, we know that the world is, pretty unhealthy right now. And so like, let's get some knowledge behind what we're missing, and work towards
Yes.
getting healthier. That's awesome.
As proactive as you can be, it's not a wrong time. It's never too late. That's what
No.
I love about this test. And the other thing I like about it is that a lot of us know, I think most of us know we're stressed. Like, oh yeah, I'm stressed.
Right.
And you might know how that's like presenting symptom wise. But the really cool thing about the HMA, like you're literally seeing like a bar graph
Yeah.
and it's like on paper, it's like a fingerprint of the
Right.
last 3 months of exactly how your body is handling stress. And so if you look at that and it's all over the place, right? It can definitely indicate, and it can often be like an eye opener, like, whoa,
Right.
okay. I knew I was stressed, but I didn't really notice this was going
How it
on.
was
And that can
affecting
be a
me.
catalyst. Yeah. It can be a catalyst. Whereas we tend to think, and this is something that I, talk about a lot, is just this narrative of motherhood, right? Like you're always going to be tired, you're always going to be stressed. Like you signed up for this.
Good
Good luck.
luck.
We're all in it. We're all in it, right?
Yeah.
And I wish it didn't have to be that way. And I
Yeah.
don't think it has to be that way. So rather than just saying like, well, all moms feel this way, so it's fine for me to feel this way. Like you don't have to accept that. Like you can expect more. And so, yeah, just seeing that on paper can be a really good catalyst
Yeah.
to making the changes that you have to make to feel better.
Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. No, I 100% am like really excited about it because like you said, we're always changing, like my body's different than it was a couple years ago. I feel like I got into my 40s and I was like, what's happening
Yeah.
with my body?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I'm okay with it. And my gut has always been telling me like you need to get more help. You need to like find out what's going on. And we put ourselves off so much, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're too busy. It's work and it's all the kids and it's all their things. It's all their things, you know, but if it gets to a certain point and something happens to you because you didn't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to then, you know, be there and be
Exactly.
present and, you know,
Right.
whatever, whether it leads into really unhealthy, you name it. I mean, you know, they're talking about certain things we're doing now to our bodies that are, you know, causing all sorts of cancers and this and that. And it's like, why don't we just listen? Our bodies seem like something's wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
Mm-hmm.
reach out, ask questions, and then, you know, get that help that will support you, which is just,
Yeah. And
okay, I'm going to do it.
it doesn't have to be complicated because
It
I think,
doesn't.
we
It's
all really
that
know what's
easy.
going to keep us. Yeah. But we also we all know kind
Yeah,
of the basics of what's going to keep us healthy, right? Like
we
nourishing food,
do.
drink water, sleep, go
You to
outside,
do it.
spend time with other people. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be this really complex thing that we often
No.
make it.
No, when you get rid of diets, when you get rid of, you know, it's like we complicate
Mm-hmm.
it, right? Like just tell me
Yeah.
what diet to be on, what exercise program to do. You know, even the moms that enter my program, I'm like, it's actually not crazy complicated. I'm here just to inspire you to make, you know, good choices and eating good foods that fuel your body and
Yeah.
make you feel better. And then once, you know, we're 4, 5, 6 weeks in, you're gonna be like, oh,
I get it.
I do feel better. I get it. And then it'll become a habit. And then, you know, I'm like, this isn't like a 8 week fix it course. I'm like, this is a lifelong, you know,
Hmm.
lifelong journey, which
Yeah, it has to be. And you have to do that. You have to approach it in a way that it can be forever. It doesn't have to be like a really strict and very,
no,
restriction based thing.
no,
Doesn't You don't have to make it overly difficult. The smaller the changes, the more sustainable, the way that you build upon it. Like that's what's most important to live an overall healthy life rather than, be constantly yo-yoing back and forth. Because
yeah,
how many of us did that for way too long?
way, way too long. No, 100%. And raising kids that know that that's not the way to go, I think
Yeah,
is
that's the
key to
other
really
very
changing things.
important piece,
Yeah.
right? Is creating
Mhm.
that culture where, mom takes care of herself and kids seeing that. And that's an entirely other
It
discussion,
is
but also
entirely, I know that's another 2 hours. Yeah,
such an
100%.
important thing is
But
creating
they're
that culture
watching.
where it's normal. They are
Mhm.
watching.
From a
Yep.
tiny baby, they're watching, they're taking it all in. Yeah.
Hmm.
And there's things I wish I, you know, would have done differently just in, you know, my first watching me. You don't think that they're absorbing all the things. And when she hit 2 and I was like, oh, she is absorbing
Oh
all
yeah,
the
they're
things.
sponges.
They
Well,
are in
think
their
about how many women in our, especially like women in our generation who grew up watching their moms do certain things, be dieting all the time, not eating, not
hard
taking
and
care of
yeah.
themselves, not working out. That's impacted us, whether we've recognized it or not. And so I think like everybody wants to talk about breaking the cycle. It's like, yeah, well, this is also a really important cycle that you can break is like a mom that takes care of herself and
Yeah.
fills her own cup.
Mhm.
And then, it can only be a better, more present, more happy mom because of it, right?
100%. That's the goal. That's the
Definitely.
goal. And better is best, right? You just make the next better choice. Like we got to
Yes.
stop with this like best perfectionist and super mom and I got to do all that, right? Like just make the
Hmm.
better choice, you know, for you and then you're going to see a difference. So,
Yes.
Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
You're so great. So tell everyone how they can contact you and reach out to you. We're just having everyone
Hmm.
throw out their information verbally, even though it's going to be included all in the info and the emails and all the things going out. So everyone will have their clickable links to all her things, to, you know, her website, to the testing, to her courses, that kind of stuff. So tell them where to
Awesome.
go to find you.
It's so simple. Root and branch nutrition pretty much everywhere. So Instagram, TikTok, website,
I
Kim
keep
at
calling rooted. I think I keep saying
rooted.
root. I think I keep saying rooted and branch.
Root and branch.
Root
Root
and
and branch. Yeah, so that's where you can find me everywhere. And it's Kim at rootbranchnutrition.com is my email. So yeah, if you put that in, you'll find me.
Yep. Yep. All right. We'll include all the things. Kim, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
And look, I look forward to getting my kit for
Got
my
that hair.
hairstyle. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, I am
I'm gonna
too.
choose a gray hair. My hairstylist says, don't pull them out. I was like, how can I not pull them
Oh,
out?
I'm the worst at that.
They like are like
Just
this.
stick
And I
straight
was like,
up.
how do I, there are these wiries. How do I just let it let it do that to me.
I know. I know. So many hair things that we go through as
Fair
mothers
things
and
we go
women.
through. I mean, I'm all about grays too, but I don't know. I'm fine with having some grays. It's just those ones that just start, being crazy that
Hmm.
I'm going to send, not you, but
Pick
I'm
all
going
your
to
gray
get
hairs
from
out.
you and I'm going to send the company one of my gray hairs. Awesome.
Oh, it's
Thanks
funny.
again, Kim. I appreciate you. And thanks for all you do and supporting all the moms. Kim has got you. If you have any questions, concerns, you want to work with her, please don't hesitate to reach out. She's truly awesome. So thanks again. I appreciate you.
I
All
appreciate
right.
you.
Bye, Kim. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.